Hi everyone, this is Michael Persad with Church Brand Guide. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to be intentional about your church's brand. Your church has a brand, whether you realize it or not. You might as well be intentional so that people have the right perception of your church. If you're not intentional, then people are going to perceive your church however they want to perceive it. And typically, that's not in a positive light if you're not being intentional about it. So let me show you what it means to be intentional. As we've been working with churches, we began to see something that's kind of a trend as we come across churches. Our company helps many churches to rebrand and create new logos and graphics and different types of media. But when we come across them for the first time, we realize that too many churches are perfectly equipped to reach a world that no longer exists. Their brand is something that's from 10 years ago or 20 or 30 years ago. And most people today that are outside the church walls are not going to be attracted to the product that's being produced inside the church walls. Basically, what the churches are doing, they're building a club for like-minded people. Jesus modeled this for us. He told us what to do in the story of Nicodemus. He was telling the Pharisees when they were poking at him, asking him why does he go into the house of a tax collector? And he said this. He said, "I'm here to seek and save the lost." So is that true about your church? Are you seeking the lost? The people that are outside your church? Are you seeking them? Are you going after them? Are you fishing for them? Again, Jesus said, we are to be fishers of men. That means we have to know their tendencies so that we can seek after them just like fish. You have to know where they are. Are they up high? Are they down low? What do they like to eat? So that you can reach them effectively. So, as a church, you need to equip yourself so that you can reach people that you are called to reach, and that'll help you form a great brand that's going to be very consistent and in alignment towards reaching a group of people, and you'll be very effective doing that. Let me show you something that I found the other day. This is a picture of a BlackBerry device, and if you're like me, you kind of forgot about Blackberries. They were really big back in like 2007, 2005, maybe around there, and it was a very big deal to have a BlackBerry. Most businesses had one, and the other day, in fact, I was watching The Office, the show The Office. On Netflix with my wife, and we were just hanging out. And then in the episode, they handed out Blackberries to everybody, and it kind of reminded me, oh yeah, that was a big deal back there. The thing about BlackBerry is that they forgot why they existed. As a company, they began to create better and better devices. Their focus was on creating a better device. And they forgot to look at their audience and respond to their audience instead of trying to respond to the product that they're making and making the product better. So here's another company that came along. This is Apple, the iPhone, right? This came along and Apple changed the game. The thing about Apple and their overall brand is that they are laser focused on those people they are trying to reach. So we can learn from that because it's all about people. Apple's brand is about thinking different. So they put that out there. They create products to equip people who think different. So if you relate to that message at all, if you're an artist of any kind and you're saying, hey, I think differently, I want to create great art, I want to create great works in my world, what it could be accounting or who knows what it is, but you want to create great art, so to speak, then an Apple device is probably going to relate to you because that's their branding. That's what they're really settling around when they put their brand out there. In fact, if you think about it, when you buy an Apple product, it's going to come in a black box or a white box, and it's going to be blank. There's just going to be a picture of the device, and it's going to be this blank box that's primarily just this white color. The big idea behind it is that they want to provide you, the user, with a canvas, a blank canvas. The device that you just bought from Apple is a tool you can use to then change the world, to do something amazing. But you are the hero of the story. Apple Computer is just providing a device. So, how as a church can we do the same thing? How can we position your brand, your church, as a guide to their story? There's a lot of people who want to be the hero of their story. They want to be a great dad. They want to be a great spouse. They want to be just a great person that lives with purpose. They want to change and impact the world in some way. So, how can you, as a church, with the gospel, present a way so that people can connect with God, because ultimately that's what it's all about, connecting people with God. We know this as churches, but how can we position your brand so that it serves as a guide, pointing people towards God so that they can be all that they're called to be? They can be the hero of their story. So, with that, I want to encourage you to create a brand that is laser focused on your audience, the people that you are called to reach. Discover who they are, what their tendencies are, and then lean into it. In fact, if you picked 1, 2, or 3 audiences that you're called to reach, you can begin to create a focus towards those audiences. The lower the number of audiences you're trying to reach, the better. So that allows you to be focused. I actually went to a church just recently where I felt a little out of place, honestly. But I went to the church because it's a thriving, growing church. It actually came out of the Hillsong circle, and they're reaching young people in downtown Kansas City. Their focus is on the 20-somethings in downtown Kansas City. And when I walked in, I'm 36 right now, after a while, I felt a little bit out of place. Even though the experience was amazing. The reason I felt out of place is that I had a bright blue shirt on that was plaid, that was had this plaid pattern on it. And as I began to look around, everybody else in the room had a solid color on with that was very muted, very trendy, skinny jeans, all that millennial thing happening. That was the audience. And so for me, if I wanted to be a part of that church in the future, I'd probably change my shirt and come back, or I would choose not to come back. And the thing is, if I chose not to come back, this church is okay with that because they are called to reach that millennial culture in the downtown area of Kansas City. And they're doing an effective job at that. They're creating a great work. In fact, I would definitely want to be a part of their church, and I would change my shirt because they have such a great focus. And because of that, they're very, very attractive. So how can you as a church be focused on the audience you're called to reach? How can you lean into that so that you can be relevant, you can be attractive and sticky to the people in your community? So I want to guide you through just a simple exercise to help you figure out your target audience. On a sheet of paper, go ahead and just write a brainstorm of all the different audiences that you can possibly think of in your community. Create little demographics, groupings of people. Could be age, could be just a way of thinking, could be a position in society. Maybe it's something like the poor. Maybe it's single moms. Maybe it is men. Maybe it is young adults that are from 17 to 29 years old. Whatever that might be, begin to group people together into just some characteristics, some categories, and create a list of as many as you can. Maybe there's a dozen or so that you can think of. Then on that sheet of paper, pick the top 3. And then write them down in order from 1, 2, and 3. 1 being the top audience that you are very good at reaching. So based on your pastor, on the people on your team, just the way the church is formed and shaped, what is the top audience that you are really good at reaching, that you could be super effective at reaching out to? And then list number 2 and list number 3. Then, once you've done that, list out the things that each of those audiences value. So let's say it's single mom. Maybe she needs help with her kids, just providing some moral value for her kids. And maybe she needs some help from time to time with her car, her vehicle, things around the house. So how can you as a church, with each of those audiences, serve them well? How can you build a brand around the audiences that you are really good at reaching, and so you can lean into that and be very effective? So in a way, you have to say yes in those areas that you are good at reaching, and you might have to say no to some things that aren't going to fit. And that's great because then you have focus and clarity, and that's what people are drawn to. People are drawn to things they can understand very quickly and very clearly. Go through that exercise. It'll help you quite a bit as a church just to get the ball rolling in defining who you are, who you're called to reach, so you can build an effective brand that's going to cause growth to happen and great things to happen in your church. Thanks for joining me on the Church Brand Guide podcast. Just want to let you know about churchbrandguide.com. We've got a bunch of free resources there that you can download to help you brand your church and just do some media things that are going to help you in that direction. Just also want to let you know there's a video course that I've created to help you walk through the branding process. So if you're ready for that, that's just a great investment to make sure you get it right. There's also a podcast on iTunes that you can download and just subscribe to. And I would love to hear back from you. You can leave comments and let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to answer your questions in the comments at churchbrandguide.com. You can also reach out to me if you want me to help you rebrand your church and take you through this process and help you to do it right. So thanks again for joining me today. My name is Michael Persad with Church Brand Guide. I'll see you next time.